As an information security leader, I know you are inundated with many security challenges. Maybe it's poor visibility, maybe it's alert fatigue, or blind trust in your tools. The question now isn't if you should act, it's how. So in this video, I'm going to break down the top 3 options you as a CISO have to keep your company safe from attack. Option number 1, if you're a CISO, you can grow your team internally. This is organic growth. This comes with a number of challenges. It can be rewarding, but this is my thought around that entire process. First, it's expensive. It can be expensive depending on the size of the security operations center that you're trying to build out. The other aspect is that a lot of times you have to have skilled resources, and there's various tiers of those resources, right? From junior analysts all the way up to your top tier triage folks. All of those folks require training. We work with a lot of organizations to provide that training. And I'm saying that because security operations centers are tasked with understanding the attacks that are happening, being able to detect those attacks. And a lot of times those attacks, without the appropriate training and without the appropriate mentorship within those environments, they may be missed, right? And so they're constantly trying to sharpen their tradecraft, trying to hone their tradecraft. And this is somewhat of a challenge. They just might not necessarily have the experience to do something like that, right? So that leads me into the second option, is typically for an organization to outsource to a third party. Here's the situation with this. When you outsource your management of your tech stack, of your technology within your organization to an MSP or an MSSP, so there is a couple things that happen. One, the organization isn't a qualified penetration testing firm or adversarial-based firm, right? So their main focus is basically on pushing product, technology stack, and monitoring, your resources, your environments, right, through their technology, right? So you can kind of think about it as a security operations center removed, and now it's the onus of that third party. There's a reliance to be able to test the efficacy of what they are doing, basically the monitoring, the detection, all of those types of things. So that's where we come in. Again, is whether it's organic on, inside the organization, they've organically built that, like option 1, we're still plugged in there to provide them a fresh perspective. This is kind of the final option that I see, and this is option number 3. That's around basically the sole reliance of vendor tools and automation. They have their place, but to have sole reliance on those tools and automation, I think, is a false sense of security. That's my hot take on that option. I don't believe that to be a good option ever, and here's the reason why. Tools don't think on their own. You've got a lot of AI capable tools. You've got a lot of things that are doing analysis. They're doing behavioral analysis, right? To make sure that certain actions taken into a series of, like a chain of events, are adequately and accurately detected. But as we have proven many, many times before, there's something known as adversarial machine learning, and that is a means to evade or circumvent a lot of the AI, for example, that's associated with a lot of these emerging tools. But also there's no human element. So they can only think about how they are essentially programmed, right? So yes, they take into consideration certain aspects, but it's only those aspects that have been seen before and have been programmed into the algorithm. And so as soon as you change that up and you start to implement those tactics within the environment, those tools start to fall apart, right? Those automations start to fall apart. If you're curious what it's like to work with STACKTITAN, click the link below and book a free strategy session. You're going to get the first part out of a 3-part series. And that first part is around threat modeling. Within the threat modeling perspective, or the threat modeling aspect, you're going to get some situational awareness and reconnaissance information around your organization or a subset of your organization. So what we're going to do is do passive reconnaissance. So we're basically going to go out and we're going to look at various sources out on the internet, and we're going to pull all of that and we're going to build what we consider to be a profile. And that profile demonstrates risk or the potential for risk about the organization. We're going to talk about adversaries that have motive and capacity that could potentially attack your organization or a subset of your organization. We're going to talk about strategies to better defend, reduce your risk exposure, and increase your attack resiliency. If you want to learn about the other 2 steps that we typically include in one of our paid engagements, click the link below to find out.